What's up, everybody? Nick Blasier here with the first ever Loutraki Grand Prix of 2023 in Greece, being run by of course, your world famous tournament director Arda Findikoglou, and Stefanos is the organizer of this event in Greece as well. I don't have information about how many players or the prizes or anything like that. I know there's like 10,000 euros added money to this, presumably provided by some combination of like the Hotel Casino Loutraki in this like OPAX games. I think it's OPAX is how I should pronounce it in English because their website comes up with a P. But yeah, we're going to get started really soon here with Michihito Kagayama playing the white checkers on top versus Jili Davidovic from Israel playing the black checkers on bottom there. We've got a room cam just showing you the match and the players that are coming up. We're going to have that XG feed, all that fun stuff. But yeah, you can see the room here. I wish I got to see it from inside there, but it looks like they're playing up on some sort of like platform or stage that looks over the rest of the tournament room. So it looks like a pretty cool setup there. And yeah, so we should be getting going with that match soon. It was scheduled to start at 12:30 here. I'm always running on 3 minutes delay. So yeah, that's, so right now it's 12:31. It'll be like 12:34 by you guys or something like that. But yeah, whenever Michi shows up, all these things, we'll get started with this match. I think, but yeah, that's going to be it. We're going to do this on the live stream, to begin with. We're going to have Michi and Jili playing, and that'll be it for my involvement in commentary for the day. But I have all the stream links for my live commentary and XG feed for the rest of the weekend up on the Loutraki page here too. So please do subscribe to this page, like the videos if you enjoy what you're seeing and everything, and set those notifications for the rest of the like featured matches. We'll have one tomorrow at same time, same start time. And then Saturday is the busy day where we're going to have 3 different matches. It looks like, we'll have the undefeated finals and then second chance, semifinals and finals. And then the Sunday is your grand finals, and that'll begin at 2:30 p.m. Greece time. So I think here that's we jump an hour ahead, so it's something like 7:30 a.m. or something like that for me. But yeah, that's your streaming schedule. So I'll be joining you for at least 6 of the matches. I presume on site too. They're gonna find some way to like stream other matches without commentary and things like that too. So keep an eye on the channel. You never know when stream will go live and there might be something to participate in. So you can check it out and keep up that way by subscribing to the channel. But yeah, it looks like we're getting ready to go soon here. I'm going to send you over back to that, like a couple ads and then that clip of Greece there going too that we'll be running a lot here. So yeah, we'll get started shortly. Thanks, everybody. All right. I see Michi showed up at the board. They're spending a little time choosing dice there, or something like this, getting the clock ready. All the finishing touches on getting this match going. So we should be getting going any moment now in this first round of the first ever Loutraki Grand Prix. 13-point match we're going to play. Back to the normal time settings. I was just on RAC London coverage all last week, and they used a different time setting where they gave a minute and a half bank to the players each time. And you know, it didn't seem to make a big deal to anyone, which if it speeds up play somehow, that seems great. I like innovations like that too. What do you guys think of the time controls there? I haven't gotten to see a lot of G-Lee's play here, so excited to see how he plays. And of course, everyone knows Michi, author of various books, working hard on his YouTube channel. Strong player. I got to do a play and explain video, or whatever. We kept talking is what he calls it on his channel. So you can go find me on there too. And I did an interview with him on my channel, so lots to check out there. Always a pleasure to have on commentary with me too. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and just move the board too. Still looks good in the shot, right? Not too bad. Very beautiful. A little crooked. I know some of you out there care about that a lot. I hope it doesn't hurt your feelings too bad. But okay. Michi hanging out there too. Checking his phone for something. Maybe he's trying to find the stream so he can share it around. Hi, Michi, if you're watching. But yeah, okay. I'm going to keep an eye on the camera there. They're looking over the dice. And I will switch back to that intro until it looks like we're about ready to play here, I think. I'm not sure what they're still checking on. But we're going to get going any moment. So don't go anywhere, okay? We're starting very shortly. All right, looks like the players are about to get started here. So we're going to jump right into it. What do we got here? Double sixes to start. Okay. Very exciting. What do you have? A 6-2 opening? Okay. It's going to open with the standard split. Double fives is going to, yeah, their standard blitzing play. And so on a fan, this is one of those references where we have a small pass, but he enters. And so entering with the 2 And then the 3 is going to just get out of 6's way. Okay, try to make a bid for freedom there. So this should be no cube now, I'm pretty sure here. But Michi going to pause to think about it. And 6-4 gets the point on head, and we're right back in the same place where maybe this is like an even bigger pass now on a fan. 4-point board should be pretty scary. 5-1 enters and can't clean up. So what is this going to be? This seems very interesting now. So we don't have any new checkers in the zone, but we do have a 4-point board instead. Our 2s are going to hit. Our 5-3, 4s, 6-4 in the outfield. And the threat of 2-6 hits twice too. The threat of that hit fan sequence is a lot more potent now with the fourth board point. So I think I like this cube. Yeah, right on the borderline though. That's a tough one to figure out. Nice find by Michi. And I think just because, you know, even when you're hitting the outfield, you can still anchor. The structure is really impure. There's only 8 checkers. I expect Geely to find a pretty easy take here. But of course, it depends on familiarity with these positions, lots of things like that. So Michi going to get that cube in. And we'll see what Geely decides to do with it. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Someone tell me how to pronounce his name. Geely? You guys can help me out with that. If you watch this after Mr. Davidovich, which I may also be playing wrong, I'm trying my best. Tell me how to say it next time. I always get to ask people when I'm on site. But I'm doing this from the comfort of my home right now, in my beautiful bedroom in Elkhorn, Wisconsin. He's spending a lot of time, though, on this. He's really worried about it. Understandable when you know the gammon threat is very high, things like this. So, I mean, it's hard to accept this and maybe lose 4 points in the game, but he is eventually going to take it. Good find from him. Not a pleasant cube to have to take, but it is when you just missed entirely. Maybe, actually. The follow-up's still very different. I wonder if Michi figured out how he's going to play this 4-1, because it is not completely clear to me. Splitting, maybe. I guess we probably duplicate some 4s. Do we want to get another checker in the zone? What are we trying to do? We're ahead in the race, so I guess we don't mind being hit loose that much. Maybe we could just split 2 up, but this doesn't seem too bad either. Except I don't really want my opponent to take over the race and escape with tempo. So I'm pretty hesitant to get a blot involved from the midpoint, even though that's usually the key to the blitz here. But Michi's got the best of it, as he tends to do. All plays very close, and we can see the merit of each, right? Interesting, yeah. So certainly stepping up twice, we win more, but we win a little bit less gammons. And when we play down, we win a little tiny bit less, but a little bit more gammons because of the contact and provocation we're going for. So as it tends to be, when there's no like great playing, they all have their merit. They all run very close. No big mistakes available here. And that's probably going to lead Michi to spend quite a bit of time trying to figure it out as well. But he finds the absolute best of it too. Nice play by Michi. Maybe some 4 duplication that we could look at to rule that way as well. And we don't really, I guess aces were happy with our play. Now our follow-up attack is kind of nicer. But Geely with a much better position here, something that he can work forward for sure. We definitely clean up the blot. I like that. And we definitely make the 5. And then what do we do with our last ace? There's a checker back on the 11 if you have trouble seeing it there. This black checker is kind of hide on the board a little bit. Does it come into more shots? I guess we got to think about like the 4 duplication. Probably there's good 4 duplication where we are. And so that seems like a nice play. Yeah, he finds the best of it there too. Good play, Geely. And then the 6-3 feels like it's going to hit, but not quite. It's blocked from the front checker. If he had played up 11-10 to get the checker involved, as was an option on the last play, it'd be hit. But he finds a nice duplication instead. And Michi just going to try to focus on the race now and hop out, clean up. That makes a lot of sense to me. Try to have an advanced anchor. 3-1 looks like it's going to be required to hit. Maybe twice, because even when we're hit back from the bar, we still have time to enter on the 20 and make an anchor. And he only has 9 in the zone. And the upside of it seems very great. So I think if I'm Geely here, I mean, I'm starting by hitting 8-7 and finding my best 3. There's a bunch of returns anyway, and I see all this upside on that second hit, so I'm going to go for it. Yeah. Nice find by him, I think. Oh, cool. Those white checkers have some sort of like cloth on the bottom of them. So they have an eye. That looks cool. 3s is a great shot to anchor. Surprisingly a little like attacking, but I think, I mean, Michi won't throw it back by any means. But Not quite a joker, but a good one. 6-4 could escape and leave a bunch of shots, so I don't think that's going to be it. It looks like our 6 or our 4 is covering. Maybe they both are. Yeah, if we cover the 4, we can hop out like this. I love that and find complete freedom. I think this looks like a very nice play. We challenge a stripped midpoint to hit. Michi can't do it, but he gets to slide up to the edge. So he keeps getting like not bad rolls, but not decisive rolls either. The kind of rolls that you don't love when you've sent the cube already. 6-3 gets to just safety up, I think. And Geely with a racing lead. I guess he could sit in the outfield here actually and contain a little bit more if he wanted. Maybe there's some idea like 14-11 and 13-7, but this feels pretty natural. 4-point board probably matters more than the Blotten board right now, and I don't think we're gaining so much for the builder on the 11. 3-2 for Michi. He's just going to work on building his board and wait for doubles or a moment to run out to the mid. I guess the 6-2 or 5-3 probably would have went there. 6-2, I think we're just going to stack up that 5, but we could slot the 3 behind. Either seems fine. All right. 5-1. That looks like Michi's play, just waiting. Oh, he can run here. Yeah, before the board gets better. He misses a small opportunity there, not big stuff. Okay. That's like Michi's style to know about plays like these too, but they can be surprising. 4-3 is just going to let the mid go. I mean, the general thing, it's tough to make too big of mistakes if we just keep playing forward like this, keep our anchor. As soon as the moment passes, it's passed forever, it feels like, and then it becomes a giant mistake to run. So, yeah, the default play is to do just what he's doing, just sit back on that anchor, let the position progress forward the way it wants to, and wait for some sort of joker to save us, you know? 4-4 should make that blocking point and a board point behind. I like that a lot. He's slightly ahead in the race, so he can start to think about clearing now. But yeah, he's playing it as though he's down in the race, which this is not too bad. But this blocks most escaping numbers, and it's most difficult to clear from. Okay, 6-5 for Michi, though. Is this going to be required to run? Can we still take it if we're only ahead 2 pips and about to be attacked? I think so. That's a good start. We have to break our board otherwise. Are we still getting doubled even if we don't run? Maybe, because we're forced off on a 6 next time. This is a very tricky play for Michi already. My instinct would be to go for the win and just run 21-10 and not destroy everything quite yet. And we'll see if he can find that. And we'll also see if that draws a cube. Looking at these numbers, it's probably a little bit shy. But it's definitely going to cause Geely to pause and think about it, because he's going to have market losers on numbers that point on ahead and get a fan, something like this. And he's also going to have things that might hit, like pick and pass, hit and then lift to the deuce or the ace. And those could be enough to lose his market by some amount as well. But we can see there's not a lot of gammons present for the leader for black in this position, because after Michi runs to the 10, he'll only have 5 pips left outside. So even if he gets closed out, you know, the risk of losing an extra 2 points is not that big. And so it rates to be relatively playable. I think the other signal that allows us to run 21-10 is that we still have a perfect board right now. And while our opponent does have a 4-point board, it's a relatively weak 4-point board with the deuce and the ace made. So even when we're attacked, we can still enter and win the race and things like this. And we'll see, wow, on the volatility, so we can see the numbers don't add up to this like 73% number that we usually have when we want to double or redouble. But as we get closer to the end of the game, we introduce more and more like higher swings in volatility. And so this might be his last chance to send the cube. And so we start to have to send it below those usual winning percentages before we lose our chance. And we can see that he's not gaining that much equity by sending it now. But he's, you know, like, so it's a relatively inefficient cube in that sense. But it's his last chance, so he has to if he wants to, like, maximize this position is the idea. Plus likes it a little better getting that cube in. These can be tricky, though. I wonder what he's calculating here. Probably thinking about all the different numbers, how they're going to play. He kind of had the opportunity to do that already. Maybe just positionally he was going to be ready to send it if Michi stayed on the anchor. I'm not really sure. If we look back at that 6-5 play and he stays on the anchor, then he's in pretty normal number territory for a double, but still an easy take. And sometimes the holding games actually wait a little longer because we don't tend to lose our market by that much. But yeah, that's the big difference here, is that when Geely rolls really well, then he loses his market by a mile, right? Like the game could just be decided on this sequence so easily. And so it's time to get it in. We'll see if he can figure that one out. And he is going to send it. I think Michi's going to find the take pretty easily. Probably made up that decision on his play. Figured out what he would do with the cube if it came his way, or if it was going to come his way as a result of his play. Double sixes, okay. Not the attacking closeout kind of gammon threat market loser that we were thinking of, but a whole bunch of pips in the race is plenty. For sure it was going to be near impossible for Michi to take after this one. This is, yeah, they played it somewhat illegally, but that's okay. All better. And he will make that play. Good of Michi to point it out as soon as possible. And 2-1. Ouch. So I guess he'll stay for contact. But yeah, this is a pretty nightmare sequence for Michi here. 3-2 going to close out as well. Like I said, no gammons really. I think it's going to close out, but I can see after we put that play on the board here that there's got to be a lot of high number shot leaving numbers like 6-5, 6-4, 6-3. 6-2 does not, and 6-1 does not. What about things like 5-4, 5-3? Maybe you have to clear the 6 point, right? So the distribution is pretty bad. Is that enough reason to do something else? No, the bot says, and I don't think I would find that either, but there's some extra hope here for Michi for sure after a roll like this and those two deep spares on the deuce. Decides on the closeout anyway. Yeah, if you lose those black checkers on the board too, you can always look at the extreme gammon overlay on the right of your screen there. And that'll help you spot them. 2-1 is just going to play in safe. Okay. 4-2. I don't expect any aggressive bear-off plays to win a gammon until we get really far along with a lot of awkward fans and things like that. 6-1 is going to leave some shots if Michi doesn't enter with a 6. Oops. Both players playing near perfect backgammon right now too, though. That's always exciting to see. 5-1 is a fan from Michi. And 6-1 does not leave a shot, but leaves still the double-decker bus with the spare on the ace. Not perfect, but Michi going to oblige and enter. He'll save all the gammons with that roll, pretty much. Geely will win very easily because he doesn't have to leave shots. Okay, 5s is at least a bid for a gammon. He needs to do that a couple more times, I think, to really get there. Yeah, only at 1.8% still. 2-1, okay. Michi doing his part to make this a double game. What do we have now? 5-3 is just going to be 2 off. After that 2-1, we're 5% up to. Okay. No set, so a little bit lower again. 4-1 is going to get a crossover at least. And so we're going to Geely to win a gammon needs a set and a miss from Michi. Still might have one more chance to roll the any set. Aces work as well. And 5-2 going to save it. Okay. Wow, and that's 4 points to start off. Pretty volatile game with the cube there, and both of them found, Michi found like a perfect borderline cube in the opening, then just couldn't follow through on it. And Geely with a really well-timed end game cube to make that 4 points instead of 2. Really exciting stuff so far. All the photos coming through from Greece and everything like that make it look like a really fun play environment to be into. I'm excited for this inaugural event. Hopefully something that goes well and comes back. 3-2 going to split in the opening. That's our standard play. The 2 gets to hit, and the 3 is in the perfect 6 builder for coverage, so he plays down instead of splitting. I think that sounds good. They're very close, though. 5-4 is going to hit and step up. Oh, it can just anchor. Wow. I would not have thought of doing that, but okay. And the 5's going to play down. He finds a pretty natural play there. 5-6 going to return fire from the bar. Man, I never think of anchoring in the opening. It's funny. I'm just not scared yet, I guess. 5-5 gets to hit twice. Wow, what a shot that happens to link up with both those blots in the outfield and send 4 total checkers back for Michi. Has a small match lead, 9 away, 13 away. So maybe he's going to be a little more conservative with the cube with this big early advantage, especially in this kind of game. But we'll see. I mean, he doesn't have to adjust too much. It's already shaping up pretty good with that third checker on the 24. We're half escaped. I think we're shy here, but yeah, what is this at? Shy at a normal score as well. 5-3 gets the point on head though. Okay, the 1 mobilized back checker is put on the roof again, and Michi just hoping not to have to enter it on the 24 as well. And so he's going to take that spare off the 24, the illegal third checker. I like his play. And with a board point now, Geely's ready now, and this still feels probably, if we're not adjusting to the match score at all, this is good, but it's a little bit early in such a volatile and gammonish position here. And we'll see if he can make it work for him, though. So 6-2. Do we really need to hit on the bar points? It can't be too bad, but we can also just link up and make the 9. It doesn't communicate with the 3. I don't know. He did this pretty quickly. But I guess, yeah, connecting blots and just playing simple seems fine. But it's not a point that we want with the, like, it's just safe builders. So he's likely to give it up quickly. I think I like Michi's decision to make the anchor here, the advanced anchor. Could make the 21 instead. 4-3. I think it's a fine time to give up the 9 point to make the 5 point and see if our opponent wants to come off their anchor. This looks like a very strong play. I don't think he will with very many rolls at all. Maybe double 2s. And 6-1 can make first offensive point for Michi. It's a start to something. Double 4s. He's just going to make the 5 point board as an option. Could also run and link up with the 9. And where's the last one then? I don't see very many like safe Winnie plays, but okay, he really wants the 8 on the 4 there. But against the, I'm not so certain of that against the 7 point. We want some outfield point. So if we do this, I feel like 13 and 9 is kind of important to come home against the bar point anchor. But maybe we could just make the best board and go from there. Again, our opponent's just not going to hit us, so how urgent is that to fill in all the gaps? Maybe I would take this opportunity, yeah. Yeah, this seems like a nice play too, though. Finds, like we were saying, if we're going to make the 4 and not make the 2, then I think we want like a landing point out there. But misses out an opportunity to find a more aggressive way home and just having the 5 point board. 5 point boards are forever. 4-1 gets the hit. 5-3 fans, okay. 4-3 gonna link up. Another fan from Michi, and now he's on the ropes, threatening to, or like at risk of losing another 4 point game to start this match off. That's tough. There are a lot of gammons in this position for sure. Almost 50-50. Misses a chance to go for something a little more aggressive there. 2-1, I think Michi should be happy to make the better anchor and lose less gammons here. But look at this. He should come in deeper. Okay, I would have made his play as well. Just switching, thinking that this is going to slow down progress. But this is a big mistake, too. I forget about this, that we win so much more when we stay on the 24 and force our opponent to try to make the 2 point in front of us. The contact's just a lot better, and it doesn't save that many gammons. 6-2 is a dilemma now. Can we really go for the hit? It's awfully scary. We're losing a lot of gammons anyway. Yeah. I don't know for sure. I mean, I probably would because I just don't mind losing that way. but it seems like Michi feels like he should play safer and save a gammon. I trust him if he decides to go that way. But okay, wow, we can win a whole extra 10% of games, and we don't give up. Like, we lose less gammons because we just win that much more, too. Okay. I don't fault him for that one. This is a tough play to find. So let's go find the the play where we come up and reduce contact. Yeah, so his game plan is just not losing a gammon, I guess. I don't think there's any score effect here, but Michi going to lose quite a bit of equity on that one. 6-1 is going to smooth out. And so he's just missing opportunities. Like, he's in damage control mode, Michi is, instead of finding opportunities to win a little bit more here, or to try to turn this game around. It's not dead yet. Understandable why it looks that way to him, though. He does have 5 checkers back. So those are tough ones to balance. And Geely's position looking great. That 9 point doesn't have direct contact with the 23. So even when he does have to leave a shot trying to bear off, it's not so scary here. I like this looks like the best distribution that he can go for. The 4 in and 5 behind. What other play do we have, though? I mean, making the ace just looks too stiff. And yeah, it just feels a little weird to have a strip 6 point here, I'm sure. Worried about how 5s are going to play next time. But I don't see anything better either. 6 comes around and 1 covers. Okay. Michi's looking more ready for contact now. And so I think he'll be able to find hits a little bit easier. Oh, he wants to think about, should I make an amoeba split play 18 to 17 in case my opponent rolls one of those awkward 5s? It's mainly it's a 5-2 that gains. I guess a 5-1 as well. So even if we get hit out there, maybe it doesn't hurt us and we get a lot of double shots because there's a blot behind. I like this, and the 6 can cover. Yeah, maybe this seems tactically like a good idea. And I think, like, given just that he's looking at it and counting through the shots, I think he's going to see that there's upside and find this small amount of advantage to gain on this one. Pretty impressive stuff. That's a tough one to stop and think about. Looking to be a very nice find by Michi. If the guy that wrote the book on amoeba splits can't find it, who can, right? Once you name the play, you have to find it. He's got to write a book about how to stay back on the 24 next. And that'll be all set. 4-2 gets to roll forward a little bit and make the 4 point, I think. I don't think we have to worry about being efficient with pips and crossovers or anything like that because we're 100 down and maybe 1,000 crossovers behind. I think we're going to need to hit a shot. I think we can be relatively confident on that one. 2-1, we love to clear the 6 point. We could also take one off and put a spare on the 3. We like to have a spare on the 3, I think, before we clear the 6 is like one of Michi's rules. Yeah, I'm a bit tricked, but we tend to peel against the 23 points, so I think I probably like this play. Both look strong. Yeah. Gets that one right. 4-1 for Michi, can make another piece of his 5 prime from behind, and then sees the back of the prime too. To start working on that more. Oh, and after not clearing, he gets punished with this 6-4. Pretty unlucky for him. So he's going to have more sets that leave shots if he doesn't play 5 days, but I would just want the checker off. I think the 3rd checker can matter a lot if he does get unlucky enough to get hit here for wins, but he decides for long-term safety that he's going to go for this instead and think about if he's not hit, how he wants it to play. And Michi going to hit. And at a trailing score, his recubes are a lot more potent, so I expect to see it coming in, barring some sort of joker. 3-6 is a joker, but is that enough to keep it off? Michi hits with just about everything. This feels good enough to me, but I'm not 100% certain. We obviously, with only 2 off, don't need a closeout to win this one. Yeah, he finds a strong cube, but when he misses, he can still lose a gammon. So I think in normal scores, because of that gammon deficit, he would not be able to send this, but it turns into a nice cube at this trailing score because of all the impacts on score end and recube value and things like that. And we'll see if Geely can find the take on this too. Not the easiest one to be certain we have enough play. But the goal is just like, you could just be missed. You could enter and have another chance to run. There's a lot of things that can still happen to scramble home with a 100 pip lead, and you never lose a gammon. So this one feels worth trying on those merits. I know if we were 6 primed and stuck behind it, that inevitable closeout or a super likely one with only 2 off is not going to be enough to take something like this. But this is different. The 3-6 was a really good response. I wonder, maybe it's better to just enter and cover with like a 3-4 or 3-2 or something like this. and sit at the edge and hope to roll a 6 because we're never being attacked there. And then we have a 4-point board too. So yeah, maybe there are a lot better rolls, but this one's still looking pretty good. I don't think I'd throw it back. And I think the references that Geely and Michi both are going to be working with are just knowing that with a perfect closeout and perfect distribution for white after hitting a late game shot like this, and if black has a perfect speed board, all the checkers on the deuce and the ace, then when black has 5 checkers off is like right at a take pass borderline where black can still take it. And this is all normal score logic. So again, what I'm adjusting here too is that black has 3 less checkers off than that. Has a little bit better board if there's like real contact to go. But also the race is a lot worse as a result of that, right? So all these things mean white need to get a cube in more aggressively. And like well before the closeout happens. Basically when we're threatening it is like a good time. And so maybe on a poor entry here, it would be a clear pass. This, for example, the threat of covering the back could be enough to just let it go now. Yeah, it looks like he would have been 80-something%. Or is 80-something% after that 2-6. And so just a really well-timed 4-cube. And maybe Michi like in a very good position to just even out the match now after something that looked quite scary to begin. Double 4s is going to roll the speed board a little closer to home. And nothing really. I guess having another checker shaken loose could be a way for Michi to win a couple extra games, but he has to prevent an anchor when he does that too. So just focused on the closeout for now. If he can close out that one checker, he should be fine. Not at too much risk of his opponent potentially like entering and winning the race that way with only 2 off. 6-5 gets to roll forward. Great shot for Michi. Just looking to avoid disaster sets that don't roll the prime forward naturally. 2-6 has to play the spare to the ace. The next 2 is not so much fun. Does not want to hit or take away any tempos or anything like that. 4-4 I think is going to be forced to run out of there though and not leave that deuce. There's just not enough room to play behind. Not worth it. Not necessary to get that checker anyway. Not even sure we want it. 5-8 smooths out that distribution a little bit anyway with 4-3. Doesn't want any extra blots involved though, just in case. And Michi, I think, just going to take the closeout on this 6-6. Again, just not a lot of value in going for more here. This is plenty for the win. 6 around and 1 in. Not the ideal distribution on the 6 and the 5 there. We'd rather have like a small gap. But the 5-1 is going to play in okay and continue on to the 3. And I think Michi can afford to just take a checker off here and not play for maximum safety. There's still like the biggest risk is still probably our opponent entering with double 6s or something like that. But if they hit a shot, you know, we still should be able to enter on the 6 or the 5 pretty quickly. And as long as we have a lot of checkers off, we're doing just fine. And so the play that gets hit the least probably is the one that evens out on the outside. And after this deuce plays 5 to ace. And we can see there that the long-term safety just doesn't win as many games as getting checkers off right now when our opponent's board is destroyed. Common logic we use to decide if we should play more. Like these same decisions come up when we have to figure out if we need to play aggressively for a gammon or not. Do we want to take the checkers off more? Okay, he goes for a long-term safety instead. 6-5 takes one off, and now this is the sequence where we could regret playing off there and not having checkers off. And Michi ends up leaving 6s, 5s, and 4s to leave a shot anyway, too. 6-5 avoids that for now, though. Davidovich just looking for some giant set here to salvage this one. 6 in and 2 continues. Maybe we could play 4-2. I don't know. Distribution seems kind of nice to go for there as well. 6-4 is just going to come around. Okay. And looking like Michi's going to hang on and even out this match. Man, they're burning through these 13 points so far. 5-2 gets to take a checker off. Oh, he stacked all his checkers up funny, so you can't see him too. Okay. 5-3-2 off for Michi. 5-2 is going to take one off and slot the deuce. And I think it's still possible for Davidovich to get back in this, but needs Michi's help, needs some sets of his own. 3-4, another 2 off. And he's going to resign there, still 3 rolls away. Michi's not. Okay. And off we go to 9-away, 9-away. Rocky start, was looking really scary, but Michi gets a nice turnaround hit during the bear-in. And here we are, tied up again. Anything can happen in backgammon. All right, we got a 5-4. We're splitting. So back to normal play. No one's thinking about leads or anything like that. We saw Davidovich play the cube pretty normal anyway, so maybe not likely to adjust the match score, but I know Michi's going to. 4s is great to point there. Still excited for his scorebook to come out too. See how it compares with like what he has to add to everything that I shared with everyone too, you know. Always got a great perspective. The 4 is going to hit and the 5 gets to hit the second checker on the ace with so much material in the zone. I like that. That's 11 checkers in the zone for the blitz. When this works with these 2 on the bar, he's looking great. And what did they? Oh, they lost a die on the floor. Okay. 4-3 brings both in. And what does Michi want to do with this? He's threatening quite a bit, like a hit and cover in a fan or some double hits, some point on heads could be too much. I think he's probably got ascended here. I don't think it's big. I think it should still be probably early enough to take pretty easily here. But a lot of volatility now that we've got so much material in the zone and that checker misplaced to the ace, so much blitzing threat. A lot can change in just one sequence. So we'll see if Michi sniffs this cube out here. I expect so. Scratching his head a little bit, calculating the sequences. So we've got Michi on the left of the player cam there on the top of the board. Davidovich on the bottom of the board and right playing the black checkers. All right, we got some viewers trickling in now. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. Exciting match so far. Just 2 games to get from 13-away, 13-away to 9-away, 9-away. I like a bloody match like that. I was thinking about that when Oliver Squire and Seb Wilkinson played last week and got to some like interesting 8 cubes and things like that. Who else was mixing it up? Radu, I felt like, the winner of that RAC London. Yeah, just it felt like he wasn't scared to get into high cubes and a lot of volatility, and that's some fun backgammon to watch. I'd rather see that, I think, than grinding out a point a game. Michi really taking his time with this one. I wonder, just has to like kind of make some estimates about each potential follow-up. I think that's how he's going to do it. It looks like he's going to elect to roll on. No. Still not quite certain. Oh, really feels like he might need to. These are tough to know for sure, though. And probably the thing running through his mind is just the clarity of the take. I mean, you know, like if he just feels certain he's not giving his opponent a decision, sometimes practically those feel like bad cubes to send. Most of us young folk are just more excited to like get something like this right. Ray Fogerland was pointing that out, but I love finding these marginal cubes, and I was so like just interested in that, even if practically I don't know how to play it out like Ray suggests, you know. But I feel like a lot of people that practice a lot against XG have that, just like are so used to being, like dinged or notified when it's time, like right at the front of that window, that we get very familiar with where that happens. But it is an interesting practical point that if you can't play this out perfectly, then maybe you have no business sending it. Finally gonna elect to give it to Davidovich. He's gonna find an easy take. And what is our follow-up here? Gonna point on head, I think. Yeah, we can't hit and cover. Next best thing, making the point on head. And what does Gili have to follow up? A 4-1. He's got options. I think, well, the 4 is not great. I think we have to hit. Because if we come on the 21, then we just have to shake a blot loose. But maybe actually with all this structure, both those seem pretty reasonable. I guess when I hit, I'm not ahead in the race yet. But I can play 13-9, which feels okay. I'm not so afraid of being hit loose now. Well, I am against 10 in the zone, but with the 3 back less so. Just feels like in the early game we have to go for this when we have 2 feet down and can maybe like anchor or hit back, take a tempo away, all these kind of fun things. But making the 21 is forever, so I don't feel certain, but I think I would probably go for the hit there. I'd be quite a bit off there. We don't even win more, okay? And so, yeah, after we decide to not hit, if we come in, I think slotting the 5 seems a little bit stronger than the 7. I don't know if there's any like duplication principles. It's just the taller stack, and it's the point we want to make, more covers, all these things. These are some of the most difficult plays for me, though. It's just like, again, just like I guess I personally just hate making anchors. Just don't want to do it. But okay, it looks like Gili leaning towards the anchoring play, and he's going to find that. Very nice stuff from him. Finds the best of it. Double 5. So the upside of that anchor is just like, what super productive thing is Michi about to do here after we do this? Not too much. Hitting a 4 with tempo is okay, but it leaves something. 6s cannot cover, but it can make the bar point, which is pretty nice. And I think we're still down enough that we probably need to keep the 21, but it sure is nice for outfield coverage to come out. If we're hit, I feel like we want the anchor and board too. But I can't find my other 2 6s if I don't come out. So making the 2 looks really weak here. Maybe that's what I do in the end though. Just make the 2 point and start to have some sort of board. But yeah, we should just come off the anchor because of all the offensive upside and not worry too much about the sequences where we get hit with the 4. Okay. Challenging one for Gili here too. And he seems to be having the same sort of trouble with it that I do, where it's just like, I know that I want to keep the 21, and I just can't find a play that feels acceptable in letting me do that, But it just feels so risky to come out to that 15. Like the offensive side of it when it works is great, but I'm very afraid to be hit loose, not have an anchor, or to be hit off the back checkers or whatever. Yeah, this is like the typical play of the 4 down. It tends to build nicely and things like that, but I think the outfield is a little too important here to go for that. I think that's a big problem with the play in this position. So that our opponent's so likely to try to hop out there. We need to have some control of that. Okay. Michi with not the worst follow-up, but was just hoping to run. Probably has to burn more spares here. Yeah, I guess he does have an interesting question here of continuing to the deuce or just bringing 2 in. My first instinct was just automatically 2 in. It looks awkward and odd on the outside, but maybe it saves him some numbers to play. I don't really know. They're very close. So some interesting tactical thoughts there. 5-2 still cannot. Oh, it can cover the 5 and just give up the 7. Yeah. I love that play. Okay. Now we're in a mutual holding game where Michi has a big advantage and is forced to run off first. Now doesn't appear to be the time. He's just going to make a board point. And 4-2. Not much to do with this roll. Oh, it's really bad. It's forced to leave at least an indirect shot, I guess, unless he wants to clear the 5 or something. Where did he find this? Wow, I don't know what the best thing to do with this is anymore. It looks really ugly. I guess maybe the safest play we have available, well, it's still like 5-3, 5-1, but we could do something like 6-2, 13-11. We leave all the 7s on that and all the 9s, which is quite a bit. Yeah, maybe, I mean, the thing is he needs some contact here to win this long term. Wow, he finds I could not make myself make this play. That is a beautiful find by him, I think. Just because it feels like you're down so much in the race that you need the contact to work out to win this. So, like, how are you ever winning after you give up the 5 and slot 2 points behind like this? 6-1 is, wow, another disaster. I think, what are we going to do? Is there any way around leaving direct shots? If not, then I guess we must have to, like, hit and cover something. And in that case, maybe I'd be coming from the 13 and covering with the deuce to keep all my checkers alive. But there is 8-7, 7-1. Maybe that reduces blots somehow. Yeah, where's the safe play, though? I don't see it. Everything's going to leave shots. Even if he runs off the 21, like, he's getting hit happily with 4s and aces. So I think the best we can do is go for some fans here and hope it works out. Okay, the 13-7 wins a little bit more, but gives up more gammons because of the more blots. That makes a lot of sense. Win some more gammons as a result, too. Man, this is not... This is another reason why I would have an impossible time making the 4-2 play last time, is because it leads to decisions like this. Like, what do we do now? I guess I don't really know how to bring a position like this home. So maybe I'm actually, making a mistake by making a play like that when I could just do something that I know how to handle a little bit better. Interesting practical thoughts to think about it. Not that I actually come up with those over the board, but I think about that a little bit when I'm reviewing, at least. Okay, decides to go for the Winnie play. I like that. 3-6 is going to hit. Okay, Michi back in great shape here. And which 6? I guess there's some 4 duplication when he comes 22-16. So why not that? But it also allows 4-5, 4-6, things like that to play behind. Takes some pressure off. They can anyway, though. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I would just come from the back. And he does. Okay. Keeps the blots linked up. All this. Ouch. But when you duplicate and your opponent rolls a set, it can be pretty painful. Gonna come in. Gonna hit. And I think probably making the 4-point is better than hitting again. But I am not completely certain. Oh, he can hit and lift and just try to buy time to come around with the race. Okay. That seems like an idea. I like it. I wasn't thinking about burying checkers yet. Gets a fan out of Michi too. Wow. Nice find with that play. And now he's still down 12 pips. Okay, so he's got a little bit of work to do, and a very weak board to do it with. But he's got something working now after that disaster position he had managed to get himself into. Are we favored yet in this game? A little bit. Okay. 6-4. What's the next follow-up piece to this puzzle? It doesn't leave so many shots from the bar if we link up with the 11, I guess. We could play 6 out, 11-7 is probably even less. Oh yeah, someone commented on my video and talked to me about less and fewer. I don't actually get it. Sorry about that. But yeah, you should go for the hit. That's a tricky one to find. I'm inclined to play simple and quiet against this much stronger board too. And Michi has a banana split decision. Oh, he has the better board after he does it. If his opponent gets the outfield, he's screwed. I think all the variables are there. I think he's going to find it and do it. Yeah. Yep. Always exciting when these come up. Even if they're wrong, you got to hope they do it, right? But everything else about it, too. He's got to break his anchor or play behind or something like that. Like when he doesn't go for this play, it's destructive, too. So I think of all the banana splits we encounter in backgammon, like this one kind of stands out more than anything. And when he plays here, he just opens up to being attacked. His opponent has a lot of good rolls in the racing advantage anyway, right? And so even when he doesn't get pointed on, then his opponent just hops out, controls the outfield, and he's hoping to escape with a 50-50 game or something like this, right? It's not looking good. So I think he's going to find it. I think he's going to find it. Probably slowing down, though. I mean, I don't know. He's worried about the fancy play syndrome. Wants to make sure that none of the simple ideas make more sense, that he really does need to break a board point to go for it, and that he doesn't get just all googly-eyed with the idea of maybe I get to banana split. I feel like all of us backgammon players are like this, though. In the way that Michi talks about backgammon, I'm sure he's like so excited to get to make a fun play like this. It's not even like that good of a play, right? Like he's still an underdog and an equity underdog after it, but it's still, I don't know. I don't think any backgammon player would like trade the opportunity to go for something like that. Maybe he'd rather roll double fives and close them out, or fours or something like that, you know, but I don't know. Nice find, Michi. Let's see how it goes for him. He gets hit. Not the end of the world when we're hit either. Still a lot of counterplay here. So there is another argument for the banana split. And fives. Where does this get? Can't come off the 22 at all, so it probably just links up with the 5 point. We have to bury a checker no matter what. Yeah, what else can we do? And now, Geely with a small racing advantage, but a dead checker, a lot of work against this 22 point. It does not seem like enough to me to send the cube at all, but he wants to pause to think about it with his outfield control. I think Michi's still in a fine position to do things like split to the 20 or run or something like that and not be punished. So yeah, wisely takes a roll, I think. Not a lot going to change on this one necessarily either, right? Like we're still going to have a pretty takeable cube when Michi runs out with one and we have a double shot or something like this. Like he can still just so easily be missed or enter or anchor or all these things. Contact looking good for Michi in this position. 4-1, yeah, I think he wants to get out of harm's way. And then the ace, he's just calculating how do I leave the less shots. Stays on the double sixes, which should reduce. Doesn't cover as well on the 6-4 or 6-5, but, you know, trade-offs. 5-4. Or was it 4-4? 5-4 it is. Okay. I saw it right. Michi saw it wrong. In that case, we will bury less checkers. Fantastic. And so he's still looking okay in this game after his split and losing his 6 point and all these things. And Geely with a lot of work to do to cash in on, you know, the freedom and the small racing advantage. Dead checker on the ace. Lots of problems in this position, but a small favorite. See if he can bring it home. I guess, I wonder if something like a 6-3 is like his best roll just to prevent running sixes. I think Michi's still just so excited to go with a 6 anything and try to race in this position. Just get involved in the outfield with his 5 point board against the 3 point board. Double fives. Okay, this could take over the race. The checker on the 15 can't get to safety though. So are we just burying 3 checkers to the deuce, or are we volunteering somewhere? We're burying 1 to the deuce, I think, no matter what. Oh, we could come down and bury 1 to the ace instead and keep the 7. That probably makes a lot of sense as well. So lots of pips, but position just getting more and more brittle as well. So I don't know how much this helped him. Looks like it kept his winning chances pretty similar. 2-5 and 6-1. And Michi going to hit the shot instantly. Okay. Back in the driver's seat with that for sure. Geely looking for a quick 6 to stay alive. He'll have a couple rolls to roll some fly shots and things like that. But looking like Michi should have an easy time of escaping. The 4 comes down and covers a lot of 6s. And the deuce should step up, I'm pretty sure, to make sure he doesn't accidentally get primed by that 3 prime. Not sure why we would want to go. Oh, he can just hop out instead. Yeah, of course. Why do we... I guess what he wants is to see the... I didn't even think of that, but it looks much better now. But he must be thinking 15 to 11 is going to not allow his opponent to park on the 6 point so effectively. When we come out to the 16, our opponent can enter with a 6 and play behind and stay there in indirect range. But I don't think that's like the primary thing here is just escaping and hoping our opponent doesn't roll a 6. Like, that's the most natural path. Finds the best of it. Good play. And he does give up a 6-5 sometimes, too, when he comes down there. 6 what? 5-2. Okay. Nothing. 6-1. I think he wants to, stay as far back as possible. So that 16-10 seems nice and sure a little bit closer to home. 16-9 is better somehow. Okay. I don't know why that would be on a lower ply as well, so who knows. This looks like 4s closes out, which is a nice feature. 5 in and 2 down. That looks pretty nice to me. Only 6s hits, and the other 6 he's going to get shots on. So nice place to be for Michi on that 12 point. Gets a fan. Hopes that he rolls a 7 or higher. Can't do it. So he's going to come a little bit closer to the bear off. And just going to move it all from there to make sure that his big sets don't leave shots. I think I like that. Might look natural to play 5-4, and XG likes it for the long-term distribution. But that would cause like 6s and 5s to potentially leave a shot right away, you know? So usually we want to avoid those kinds of sets. So I understand Michi's play for sure. 6-6. Okay, is this enough to get right back in the race? It's close. There's a lot of wastage though, so not great for Geely. Michi's still with a comfortable racing lead here. But, you know, it gets him in range. Another set could be starting to worry Michi a little bit. 2 more probably needed to win this game for Geely. Otherwise, Michi's going to go ahead 2 points to be at 908, 708. Maybe filling in the 4 could be okay there. 5-1 is 2 off. Now 4s are a problem, and Geely's bear off for the rest as well. Ace off, and the 4 is going to go to the deuce. Okay, I like that play. 5-5. And that seals the deal, Geely says, for Michi. Going to resign a single and move on to 908, 708. And Michi playing nearly a perfect game in that one. Starting to find his ace stuff now. And what is Michi doing here? Is he going to take a short break here? It looks like it. Okay. Well, I think we'll take a short break over here too, and be back with more of this this action between Michi and Geely. Good match so far. Stay tuned with us. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Hop over to my channel too if you want to see more backgammon stuff. And yeah, I'm glad to be your host on this. Thanks to our sponsors too, the Hotel Casino Loutraki, Opax Mind Games. Back with more backgammon soon. Stay tuned. All right. Looks like the players are getting ready to start back up here. I'm Nick Blasier on commentary. We got Jili Davidovich playing Michihito Kageyama here. Michi with a small lead here. Let's get back to it. 5-2 to open. Okay. And 6-2, I think, just splits. I've started to learn, too, that I like. It runs. That's right. Runs past the stacks. The 6-3, I remember I got wrong recently. Does not hit loose on the 22, I think, if I remember right. 6-5 gets to run a checker to safety. Nice shot. 3s is going to attack. Make the nice 3-point board. And Michi with a 5-pip lead after a fan. Is this anything? I don't think so at 7 away with our opponent having escaped the checker already. I think it's not. I think it's a little bit shy at normal scores. And so, yeah, he's quickly going to take a roll here. Oh, it actually is good for a cube, though. Okay. Yeah, I would have missed that, too. Understandable to be slightly more conservative at 7 away, 9 away. But we can see, wow, it's actually getting close to a pass at normal scores. I wouldn't have thought it was that strong. But I guess Michi, in addition to Jili having escaped the checker, Michi's half escaped one, too. So he's a little bit closer to just getting to play a natural race. 4-5 going to enter and bring one down. Ugly stacky position, but he's in and moving around, so I don't think there's any big threat here for Michi again. And yeah, not being on the roof, big deal there. 4s gets to link up and bring 2 checkers in the zone. Beautiful shot for Michi. Now there's a lot of pressure with this. It looks like just a simple full freedom single checker back game. But Davidovich is going to get right back in this race now. Can't run very far from the 21, so I think he can just leave that alone and make the bar point and the deuce point and be happy with his close race that he's got now. Michi maybe still with enough attacking follow-up here that he needs to send the cube on volatility, but it feels very takeable for Jili now to me. And yeah, with this close kind of race, things like any 5 or indirect 9 or 12s are going to want to hit loose. And we want to be able to cash in on the upside when that happens. If we're hit back, of course, Jili's still right in this game. But often a well-timed cube is when you're about to likely make a decisive loose hit. Big signal to send it for Michi. I have an easier time finding those personally than like when our opponent's on the roof already and we're threatening to just come around and build and stuff like that, and there looks like counterplay. But full freedom like this, these I think are relatively easy to sniff out. When it doesn't go perfect, Michi's still in a great game with a racing lead too, so not a lot of like anti-joker quality here. Jili is taking his time with all of these cubes too, though. I guess I'd be really interested what his thought process is. Both of them playing really sharp backgammon. Clear that he's a pretty top player, it looks like, from his play so far. In the rollout match of 1, I like his stuff so far. But, yeah, I'm always curious what people's process is in something like this. I very quickly get to, like, a limit of how much I can really take in about this position and figure one way or the other. I don't know. I don't tend to do a lot of math and try to calculate how many rolls and what does that mean for winning in gammon chances. It's more of an intuitive feel, which means I'm going to get to that point relatively quickly. So I wonder if he's trying to figure out, well, how often do I lose a gammon if I just get closed out from here? Maybe he just needs to be very certain of the race and count that a time or 2 more, and figures that if he's, maybe he has some range he works with for that makes it a take or a pass. If he's down in the race, this looks like kind of natural to pass, so that could be a good thing to spend a lot of time on here. And he's outboarded too is a problem with this one. Single checker back games should be difficult to take when we don't have a board to contend with or the racing lead or something. But he does have the racing lead here, so he's doing okay. And he's going to let it go. Wow, okay, he's going to get tricked with this, outboarded and just being attacked all the time. Thinks that, like, the idea of escaping to a winning race just isn't enough to play for here. Understandable. But going to give up quite a bit of opportunity on this one. I think normal score is still a pretty clear take, too. So, especially at the score, we'd like to adjust. And we're going to move on to 6-away, 9-away. Lead for Michi. And Geely stepped off stage there somewhere for a second. We'll get something real quick. Looks like they'll be back in the action quickly, though. Some water. Yeah, sometimes calculating too much in those positions can lead to mistakes too. We think of all the ways that it can go well for our opponent and count all those anti-jokers and forget that they haven't happened yet, Maybe that's what happened on that cube. 6-1, going to make a point in response. Michi going to slow down with the cube at this score a little bit, and Geely a little more aggressive because recubes are strongly going to favor Geely now. 4-3 gets the point on head. Okay. Not exactly what we had in mind to trade the 7 for the 3, but tactically nice. Aces gets to enter, make the 5 points, and probably just split here against only 9 in the zone with some nice priming structure of our own, even though our opponent has a little bit of attacking structure. Oh, he should slot there. That's an interesting play. There is some 6 duplication, but I would have trouble finding that. 5-3. Can't make any points naturally. Going to leave a shot anyway, so why not hit loose? I like that. And a lot of times splitting while we have the tempo is a nice time to go for it. Against this priming structure, I love the look of that. Just the old hit and split technique. All right. And I don't think this is threatening enough for Geely to be thinking about a cube yet, but I mean, we're getting close for score reasons. And he's shown to probably not be too much of a score adjuster, so not surprised to see him kind of roll through that quickly. 4s, great roll. I think he should play it exactly the way he did. Enter, hit, bring material into the zone. Michi with a 3-6 fan is a disaster. Now he's probably playing on too good. 6-3. Can't do too much on the offense. He's going to come down and slot, it looks like. And bring another checker in. Okay, yeah, focusing on the front seems fine. Even if he gets hit from the bar, he gets to shoot at checkers in the board. And threatening to catch up to 7-away, 6-away if this gammon works out. 4-3, hitting loose on the ace with so much better of a board seems like a great idea here. Our opponent making the 24 point is like the best chance of not only saving the gammon, but winning. And now Geely going to get recirculated and have a few more ways to hit that checker on the 23, but wants to pause and think about if he's still too good. Can Michi regain a take if he anchors? I don't think so here, but he's going to go ahead and claim it. Yeah, still sizably too good, and I expect Michi should be able to find a pretty easy pass on this one. So lets him off the hook a little bit there. And we're going to go on to 8-away, 6-away. Could be one of those traps too where we talk about wanting to be at even scores instead of odd scores. Or if you focus in on this small effect too much, then you might end up claiming something where you just have a ton of too good equity in a spot like that. It's secondary, Tough to figure out which of those effects matters most when and how to rank them all. 5-1 is going to hit and bring the checker down. Yep, from the midpoint. If we had the 9th in the zone, we could hit on the ace. But with 8 in the zone, we like to bring another builder down. 2's probably going to make the 11 and the 4, right? We could spend the whole roll hitting. But that feels like a waste when we could do 2 things. Okay, but he wants to go for that. And I guess there's a lot of ways that he can make the 5 point. Very good point. Man, the 4 and the 11 are so strong. I actually made a video that'll come out soon on this too about how it can be an option to make the 5 point as this backstop against the 5 instead of switching to the 5 even when you have the 7, for example. It's just that strong of a configuration, a very good priming configuration. You're going to come out of it with the 5 point a lot of the time. So very strong position for Geely here. Gets to run a check or two. Not exactly what he had in mind, but fine. 5-3 cannot split. Does it want to trade the 8 point? I guess because he has the stack for the 3 point and has made the board point, it can be okay. But typically the 8 point a little bit better as a priming point. 6-4 gets to run and link up. Beautiful shot. And do we have a cube incoming a lot of the time here? Probably. 6-5 should be enough to keep it off. He can just run and only have one back checker to deal with. And be threatening to escape to fine race. Well, thanks, Tapia. And he does go for it. And now Geely has to think about whether he still might have a cube with the slightly better board. I don't think there's enough like big swing market loss here, so I'd be thinking to take a roll even with the score discrepancy. Our opponent should have a comfortable take here with like anything other than double sixes or something like that, which, by the way, I don't even know how to play that exactly. So a little bit shy, not too bad. Definitely has a lead in it. Wouldn't be like a terrible play to send it, but just no need quite yet. 5-2 just quietly brings the builder into the zone. 3-2. Michi's going to love to step up to the 22 to have more numbers to escape. And I don't think that's going to provoke too much loose hitting on the 3, so no market loss there. Or nothing to think about with the cube, really. Blocking the 6 out with the 9 is great now, and we can remake the 11 to threaten to make the 5 later. Looks like a very strong roll for Geely. Ace is going to improve the board. And what do we have now? A 4-pip lead, threatening to attack, has our opponent slightly primed. This seems okay now. Making some sort of blocking point could be, or the 5 point could be too much to handle, or a big roll or something like that. Maybe we've developed enough, but still feels like a very comfortable take from Michi here. Finds the double. See if Michi can figure out the take side. I think he's going to see that he has a decent race and the better board to protect him, and Geely still has a bunch of work to do to bring this home. Could potentially even like find awkward numbers that leave shots or stripped next roll or something. I'm not sure if there's anything too bad. But yeah, it just looks like not all. I mean, it's a good position, but it's not done, right? So same as we talked about last game. The only way he can really drop it is if he tricks himself into thinking that like the worst case outcome has happened already. But it hasn't. This game can still go a lot of ways. So it still has plenty of playability. All right. Michi finds that comfortable take. And how does Geely follow up with a 5-1? I thought about this roll. Doesn't do anything good. But it can play behind at least. I don't think it wants to hit loose here. So we're probably just playing something like 8-2 with no hit. We don't want to unblock the 6s out from the 9. I don't think we want to leave the fly shots and get rid of the builder. So this is just a valuable piece of structure that we give up when we play this way, and fly shots. So yeah, not the best with there. Aces can make the bar point. All of Michi's rolls just kind of, he can create an little bit extra contact with the 14 by doing this. That's interesting. I don't know how long he's going to be able to keep it, but I guess that must be fine. Why not make the 8 with it, though? It's part of his prime. Slots instead. Yeah, okay. Thinks about the path forward rather than, what should this do? It can come home to easy race, but might still have to develop a lot. So I think, and he can still win a ton of gammon. So I think he's got to go for the blitz. I think making the 3 and the ace looks pretty mandatory here. We hate the fly shots that we leave, but what is it? 5-3, 2-6, 5-5. That's not so many. And there's there's real gammon potential here. And real loss potential even after we play quiet. Nice find. Let's see how Michi performs from the bar here under a lot of pressure. 4-4 is not what he's looking for, a fan. Okay, Geely looking to follow up with that 5 point if he can. Double 2s is going to do it. Beautiful shot. And yeah, Michi with a lot of pips outside, which is going to lead to a lot of gammons on this closeout. If he can find it. 6-4 just immediately. Okay. Geely makes short work of this game and likely to move on to 4-away, 6-away. how bad are the gammons here? So there's 612 and another 14 pips outside. And another 4 is like 30 pips. So, I mean, 30 pips outside should be the formula that I end up using. Sorry, I should keep up with this too. Make sure. It's too hard. Maybe we would rather like go for some distribution play in the board instead of taking the crossovers. Yeah, okay. Small miss there. 2-1 can just play out the 5. Great. But yeah, the first 8 tends to be, what is this? This is 6 what? 6-3. Okay. A little bit of glare on the dice there. 4-2 can clear from the rear, and he's winning a gammon so often that I don't think he needs to do aggressive things to win it. Not that there is much available there. Michi gets to roll, cannot enter. 6-5, 2 off, and out on the outside. If Michi can fan, he's going to have a lot of shot levers to root for, and can definitely still win. 5-4 enters. And must still be a favorite to lose a gammon here. Yeah, almost 80% to win it. Michi going to need some help. That's not it. 5's going to take 4 off and start to cement that 4-point gain for Geely. 3-2. 2 crossovers somehow. The perfect one, 9-6, and then 13-11 looks good with it too. Still going to hope that he can find some way to get off this gammon. A couple more aces could take Geely off the roll by 1. So that's worth playing for. 4 around. Perfect, most efficient crossovers he can find. Looks good. 5-3 is going to leave still the 2 ace sequence we can root for. 2-1, brutal. All right, we're getting a crossover. And then I guess 12-11 and hope for 5s or something like this. Sure. I don't know. I really don't know. Must be fine. Maybe impossible already. Definitely impossible now. Michi going to resign the gammon. And as promised, another clean game from Michi there too. 4-way, 6-away. So the recube is going to be very potent for Michi, but the effect on the initial cube for Geely is interestingly balanced by wanting to earn that perfect 4 points to win the match on a gammon. So in gammonish positions, he still has some incentive to send it similar to the normal time. It like mostly balances out, I would say. Where at 4 away, 5 away, there can be positions where the gammons matter more and can generate passes and things like that. I would say like the net effect is more balancing at 4 away, 6 away, 4 away, 7 away, things like that. Three, 6 to start. Michi going to go for the split. Okay. 3-1. I think we still just point here, yeah. Typically at normal scores after the 6-3 for sure. I was just couldn't think of a score reason why it would change here, but you never know. 6 comes out and brings a checker down for building. Okay, against the better board. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, we can't play too stiff yet. 4-3 probably wants to split now that our opponent has an anchor. Probably doesn't mind leaving a blot in front of the anchor either and staying pure with the better board. So I guess I would go for the 21 and 9 kind of play. Seems strong here. Good find by Geely. And double 5s is probably going to go for a blitz here. Has to leave a direct shot if it doesn't attack. But, you know, with a 26-point pip lead, we would love to find a way to just turn this into a race and cash. But I think we're just going to have to do something like this. Oh, we could clear. Interesting. We do still want to just clear the 18 and make the ace and try to get home that way. Theme we probably seen if you've like come up with those enough, but I mean that particular position seemed especially hard to find it. And now Geely got to figure out if he wants to anchor long term or hit. And I think this was the way that he went last time, but okay. Too passive in this particular position with this giant racing lead. That's tough at the score to go for too. But we still have our, foot down on the 23 after we hit. We have the nice board, lots of ways that it can go right. 4-1 looks like it's going to enter, and I think it has to hit now. We have an anchor. And we're way down in the race. It's another checker. We got to try to win, I think. I like that play. And what does Michi have at this trailing score? Does he need to go for something aggressive? There are 3 blots and 3 checkers back already, so the gammons must be pretty high. Probably not losing a pile of gammons in this position himself necessarily. So there's some interesting volatility in this for sure. But looks like a lot of play with 4 dead checkers and 2 points behind the anchor. So Geely must be able to win this a lot with the more pure structure. Tricky. I guess overall I would think that the wins are too high for Geely to send it yet, but I can't be certain. Yeah. Yeah, very close. And still we do see all the way, even with only 53% wins, we still see 23% gammons. That is sky high for a 50-50 game. So that's going to give Michi a lot of pause for thought and trouble with this position. Because when you're in a scenario like that, where like your good sequences lead to just a ton of gammons and 2 good kind of positions, I mean, you really want to get the cube in before something like that happens, you know? So he's going to have to go through that and figure out what his anti-jokers are, how fast the turnarounds are for black, all these kinds of things, and make his best guess. But this is going to be a tough one. In the end, I think he's going to have to be guessing. Maybe he could realize that it's probably close at best and guess that it's a relatively easy take for his opponents and err on the conservative side as a result there. But we'll see. He still has over 11 minutes on the clock to think about it. Geely down to like 6 something. Okay, so plenty of time to sort it out. No rush there. Seems like a good time to spend it. And correctly chooses to take a roll. Nice job, Michi. The 3-2 looks like it doesn't hit anything. Okay. On a whiff, he's quite happy. Looks like the 2's coming in, and either we're going to clean up 16 to 13 or cover a point. Yeah, why not have a point if we got to leave a shot either way? I like that decision. 6-1 gets to clean up some... Can make structure, but it's got to leave a shot either way. So the quiet play seems to be 2 checkers on the 7. But there's this 8-2 idea. How does that help? I just don't see the ace with it, so I think I'm just stacking that up. But our opponent has nice 2s to hit, nice 6s to escape with a big race lead. Really gives him way too much freedom. So a bit frustrating to have to do that. 6 can pop out and 5 can come around. Nice step towards full freedom and playing a simple holding game for Michi. And he fades the 5. 3 going to cover, and the ace just going to step forward. I was thinking about, yeah, I guess we don't want to step into being pointed on the 5 there. 6-4. Michi doesn't even pause to think about it. Still has a lot of work to do to safety the checkers and make the 5 point in front of that anchor. And gets the link up at least and play the... He's got too many points, though. 2-1 just comes down for building. And so, yeah, sets might still lose the market, or maybe clearing the midpoint safely or something like that. But it looks like a pretty easy contact take for black here. Maybe we can still send it. I mean, it's probably fine, but it's probably more questionable on the double side than the take side, I would say. I guess it's hard to see, like, you know, big sets must lose the market here. I guess I can see that. But something like 2-3, 2-5 that clears the midpoint like this still leaves a ton of play from all these blocking points. And so, I mean, it doesn't seem likely we're going to lose our market on things like that, which should make it seem like we can take a roll and just send in a cube later. Now that Michi's threatening to make the 5 point, seems like a good time to send the cube, but a little early still, and still a pretty easy take for Geely. Don't fault that one at all. 3-2 moves the spare to a better spot. I like that play. 6-4. Can this liberate a checker from the back? No. So it's just going to slot the front of the prime. Okay. Everything's still rolling forward nicely for black checkers. 5-2 cannot clear any points exactly. We could put 2 checkers on the 6 and leave all 7s. And play B looks to be burying to the ace. So maybe the 7 shots of the Blotten board or the 6 shots of the Blotten board, maybe it's time for it before we have to do something more destructive. That's a tough play, though, against such good front structure. And yeah, look at that, bearing to the ace. We have to respect that 5 prime that much. Doesn't help us enough to go for distribution. And it takes the spare off the 8 too, so leaves him pretty stripped outside. So, I mean, either way, we're having to strip the 8 point. So maybe we notice 8 to 6 is part of it. Yeah, I like that. And now he's going to find his best 5. Do I want to bury to the ace, or do I want to leave a bunch of shots? Neither of them's fun. Nice find by Michi there. One. So I think he has better contact with more points when he steps up to the 20 and covers the 3. We have dead checkers behind, so having that blot back on the 21 is fine. I think that's our way to maximize contact here. It can be a question whether or not, so we saw in that game where Michi stepped up and advanced 24 to 23, that in that game was actually reducing contact and allowed his opponent to potentially play behind and not have to fill in that gap. Here, I think we're making contact with stripped points that are 6 away. We increase the points we're challenging. And so I think that's why we want to make the 20 here, is now we have contact with the 11 point as well. And so Michi wouldn't even have an option with that 5-2 like he did last time. But okay, he's going to preserve the deeper contact, which fairly thematic in these holding games when you're down a lot in the race and need contact that you want to stay back. But so even this 2-1 could have a choice now. Maybe it wants, I don't think it wants to give up the 7 shots still, but at least it's not a direct, and he has the choice to think about. And the 2-1 couldn't even have played behind 6-3 now. That's super interesting. Oh, he can play it entirely behind, but it decides to volunteer instead. Small error in that play, but totally understandable. Feels like the easier one to play home. 5-6 liberates a spare. Great shot for Gili, I think. Finally gets that other checker in the action. What can Michi do with this? 4-3. Looks like it cleans up to the 8. And 6-2. So a little bit awkward, but no shots for now. And at some point, I think Gili's going to be happy making an amoeba split with the ace if he gets the chance. With Michi's dead checker behind and ways to come in deeper anyway. We'll see how he follows up here. 4-1, yeah, going to start to bury more checkers, which is going to increase the incentive to maximize contact back there. But Gili with plenty of productive things to do on the front too. So no rush. Maybe going to the ace is a little bit better there. But I would think. I don't know why we want to build her on the 3 points. 6-3. Does this leave a shot? Looks like it has to. It looks like we can either play 10 to ace, or we can play 8-2 and find our best 3, which is going to leave double shots. So yeah, only thing, direct 6s to hit. Maybe at trailing scores we could send this. He's actually a favorite, but as a leader, you know, we'd just be getting the cube back on 8 to play for the match, so we don't want to send that in a 50-50 spot. And he hits it. Okay. And so comes around the bend, and on a closeout with these 3 checkers outside, we probably still win a gammon about 10% of the time, you know, if Michi doesn't move at all from here. Maybe a little bit better than that even. So definitely some too good vig to play on for here. I think he could, he could cash it easily if he wanted, right? I mean, this is just pretty lost for Michi. And now Michi's going to enter and bury a checker, and that's going to reduce the gammons considerably, down below 10% for sure. Except that he can go for more here by hitting loose and hope that Michi hits back with an ace, has to break his board and get another checker involved. No such luck. We'll see if he can leave it there for one more roll. 5-6. This seems a little too deep to try it to me. I think I would cover, but he's just going to go, oh, he's right here too. Okay. Right on the cusp. Still wins like 8% of gammons. Ooh, ace 3 is what he was looking for. Rewarded. And so 8-5, nothing else for Michi. 6-3 leaves less blots. Wow, I would just never think of doing this. But I mean, it makes sense. But yeah, leaving the direct in board. I guess we're leaving a direct in board either way. Yeah, I guess why not here, right? We leave more shots. We have more blots, everything about it. Probably the cleanup's easier after we just give up the 6 now. So why not? Why not is the question. Because we generate more fanning numbers that might allow us to clean up would be the counter argument for the 8-5. Wins a little bit more doing it that way, but gets gammon a little more too. Very interesting. Tricky decision for him. But either way, we can see Geely's gammon's up around 30% now. So in a pretty good position to potentially close out the match on this game. One good roll here could be very decisive. Fives, of course, but entering fours that hit loose are fine as well. This is the way to do it. We're going to hit in the outfield. And then what's the best here? We could switch to prevent the anchor, but he's just going to come around instead. Okay. Makes enough sense. Yeah, it's tough to win a gammon when we get that impure, maybe, is the idea. Looking to hit loose with a 3 or a 2. Ooh, no such luck, and he's going to have to leave shots too. So I think 6 to 7 to ace is like mandatory, and then the 5 probably comes in from the back. But the 5 could come into the deuce and leave more covers. Maybe this looks like better distribution for a roll. Interesting. And Michi with no ace. Not even sure he wants it to allow another checker to get cleaned up, right? 6-4. Wow, he just can't cover it. That's really awkward. So I think the only way we can not leave a double shot is by playing the 6 in and 5 to ace. Or we can just take a checker off. Yeah, that looks much better. Good find. Okay. 5-3 fans. And the gammons are at least a little bit lower with this kind of awkward come home. But they're high enough that I feel like you have to fight for it by taking a checker off there. But he's just going to clear from the rear and play for maximum safety. And Michi going to come in with the set immediately. Probably just going to claim this game at this point. I mean, I guess he has a couple rolls to play on technically. But that's going to save all the gammons for Michi. And a huge swing on that to stay in the match and go to 2-way, 6-away instead of potentially losing right there. I've never seen someone white win as the white checkers here. So I'm not even going to think about that. 5-3. Does it say 100% yet? 99.8. Okay, it's possible. What is the 5 in and the 3 forward? Okay. And Geely ready to claim it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's impossible to win because your opponent's going to send the cube. So. And there we are. 2-away, 6-away. Aggressive cubes incoming from Michi. And going to be really hard to find one for Geely here, since it'll immediately come back on 4. But it's not like the 4-away, 2-way, where we have a lot of opening sequences that result in a cube. Wow, okay, at the leading score, he still wants a slot. Interesting. I don't think it's too far off if it's wrong. But most players tend to start to want to split and try to play a more conservative game at the leading score. At 2-away. 5-2 cannot cover, so it tends to make the 3-point. Two 1 gets to anchor up past. Very nice. Always love to make an anchor in front of a made board point when our opponent does that. 5s is going to threaten to just win a race. Still a lot of work to do. I think we probably just clean up 11 to ace as well. I don't think making the ace at the expense of leaving fly shot seems worth it. No, it was, though. Okay. Oh, and we could play 13 to 8 instead of 2 down. Yeah, of course. Okay. And Michi finds the double aces to improve his board. So he's getting ready against those back checkers. Double 2s. Advances beautifully and threatens to make the 5.2. Coming forward nicely for Geely. 6-4. What can Michi do with this? Can't cover the blocking points he was hoping to. Maybe the 4, 8 to 4 is nice to like slot in front. He could make the 2 and prepare for contact that way too. Both seem like nice ideas. But if we make the 4, we could play 13 to 7 and get ready to cover. Looks pretty strong there. Oh, look at this. We can just put another checker in front and leave him there. I'm not sure I understand this play. This makes a lot more sense to me. Yeah, but it wants to play even more bold with the ace behind, with the anchor at the score, all these things. There must be some influence like that. This is a tricky one. Oh, so he's going to go with the version 11 to 5. Okay, a little bit front-loaded looking, but nice play for Michi. 5-2 gets to cover a point. Let's see if Michi can get the 4-point out of this in the rack after all. 5-3. Doesn't look like it, but it can give up the 7 to do it. Could play the 5 down too, but maybe we just play 2 checkers both off the 7 and just kind of wait from there. Looks pretty strong to me. I think we really want that 4-point, though. And now that our opponent has a 3-point board, we like leaving the shot a little bit less. Oh, but he's just going to play quiet and in and keep his 7-point. Thinks he needs something in the outfield to link up to come home. But down in the race, so not really thinking that way, but needing a safe way to clear, or shouldn't be. 5-4, if we had the midpoint, this is the roll where we love to leave the 22. And we still should do it because the ace duplication. That's a lot of fun. That's a tough one to find. Ace 5 gets to cover, and then your favorite 5. I guess the upside of slotting in front is good, but we don't like to let our opponent escape with tempo. 5-1, 5-4, 5-6, I'll cover. Maybe they're strong enough. I'm not sure. Not sure if the gain's too high there. I'd probably be inclined to play pure, though, because I feel like we need contact to win this game. All right, nice find by Michi. Nice bold play. Let's see what Geely can come up with. The double 5s, ouch. Well, I mean, he does get to come up with 2, but the other 2 are not so strong. I guess he'll be cleaning up 11-6 twice, but shots from the roof for Michi. May lose a gammon when he doesn't enter anyway, so maybe he's going to pause to think about the cube. I don't think so. Can just save the gammon with a hit. 5-6 is going to enter and hop out for contact in the outfield. Sure. Don't mind that. Geely looking to come home with tempo with a 6 potentially. 5-2, not that. Buries 2 checkers or clears the 8-point. Okay, that seems reasonable. Maybe getting rid of the 8-point long term is a little bit nicer there, though. We're not actually using that as a bridge to the 17 all that effectively. Helps with the midpoint more. And now Michi has to figure out from here with this, like, 4 checkers on the ace point dead there and a blot on the deuce point. You know, I have to start to find contact maximizing plays. So does that mean I actually want to clean up this checker? Chooses to do it, misses out on a little bit there, but not a bad play. Those are tough to find. 5-3 misses the opportunity to clear last time, so now we're, I think, stuck getting rid of the last 2 spares. I don't see us. I mean, Michi looks too ready to volunteer now, so I think we have to try to hope for something luckier, but now we should go for it before our position's just completely dead. Very interesting. And Michi's going to pause to think about whether or not he has enough positionally in this. I think what I've found is that, like, I mean, they're 50-50 at best. Wow, he's a lot closer than I would have thought. And actually can send the cube here. That's really impressive. I think I've sent these mistakenly before, just thinking, like, how on earth is my opponent going to bring these home? But if he just gets a home with, like, away with 1 ugly sequence and 1 miss, then he's scrapping for a racing lead, right? So there's still a ton of wins here for black, despite the massive impurity here. But Michi going to be happy to spread the checkers out and maximize contact. And going to pause to think about this one a little bit longer. Yeah, so this cube is almost nothing about Michi's next sequence and everything about Geely's next roll. Not a lot to like that Michi can do himself to decide this, but maybe if Geely does something destructive enough, leaves enough shots around, there could be so many gammons that he wouldn't be able to play it. So wants to think about, you know, if my opponent crashes disastrously next roll, he's going to have to go through the rolls to figure out which ones do that too. I'm not sure I see any obvious ones here either, which makes the cube surprising again. But since it's such a small magnitude, it could mean that there really aren't almost any of those and that it's just okay to send it because our opponent's never recubing and things like that, which makes it even harder to find as a human. We don't have like a good reason to send it. But wow, Michi going to find this. Easy take for Geely. And Geely with a chance at least to just kind of get away with one and win 2 points for the match. But under a lot of pressure to not, you know, destroy his position and things like that. Big set can solve everything, though. 6-4? 6-4 is pretty bad. This is probably one of the ones that Michi was dreaming of. I think they just both come off the 17. Looks pretty natural. And I wonder, I imagine he still has a take after this, but actually we can see it's close. It's not pleasant. 6-3, Michi hits the hard way. Nice shot. And now he's in the driver's seat to potentially pick up that extra checker and close out and win a gammon. Okay, ace-3 is a big start to avoid this sequence. Lifts the checker. So likely, okay, saves a lot of gammons that way. Michi's still going to go for attack because he has a checker he can be recirculated to go pick up back there. Aces can't close the prime. What can it do here? Does it have to like switch just to buy some time? We can't let our opponent escape. Maybe the best way to do that is to keep our prime intact and just lift the blot on the 7, not allow him to escape with tempo. But it's possible that being hit with a 6 on the way is okay too. Maybe everything's okay here, yeah. I don't have like a strong favorite. Yeah, I mean, it's like this just looks pretty natural to me, but I'm not certain of that one. Many plays pretty close. Leaving the checker on the 7's okay. I think long-term switching must be a big problem. Just like how do we ever close this out when we do that? Doesn't show up in the list yet, but be interesting to look at that one. 6-3 is going to try to run. And if he can avoid the 3 and the deuce, he's back in the driver's seat to just win a race. 6-5 gets there as well. 6-4 doesn't, though. Oh, that's a stinker. So from the front and keeps the blocking point and hopes for his last chance at picking up this checker that it can't get past the 21. There's still some contact, last resort contact back there, but huge improvement for Geely's position. Gets to link up that checker with the 8 point and in a great position. Of course, no recubes here, given that he's already got his 2 points, has to play this one out. So Michi's going to get every chance left to keep generating contact here. Needs to avoid 4s and 3s, it looks like. 2-1 should be pretty safe if that's what it is. Yep. Redistributes the spares, cover the point. Maybe one of his best. Now 4s can like pick and pass. So Michi in a real tough spot here. I think slotting the 7 and the ace looks pretty nice here to me. Still way down in the race, so we're never running from the 21. All right. All these fine. No big difference available there. 6-2. Oh, that's interesting. Has to break a point behind to avoid leaving a shot, which I think he should do. I don't think he can volunteer shots now when he might not have to later. But after making the 3, he was happy to have that asset and just forced to give it up immediately. Further demonstrating the stiffness of the position and why Michi had a cube there. Still running into problems here. All of his sets that clear still leave a shot. 4-2. What would that have done? 3-1. Defers one more roll. And gets the board point back too. So he has some 4s that play a little bit better now. What does Michi do? Brings a checker in. Probably saves the 6 to be able to stay for contact for a little bit longer. And getting a little bit closer in the race where he could maybe win some desperation, doubles back in. Oh, the 5s is going to close that out. And things are looking bad for Michi in this match. Let's see if we can find a way back in with a bunch of sets. Otherwise, Geely going to be advancing and Michi going to be moving on to the second chance bracket. In this main event, like most tournaments, backgammon tournaments, you get 2 chances before you're knocked out of actually winning the final. You get to, in the undefeated bracket, they're going to continue on and play a bunch of 13-point matches. On the second chance side, Michi will be playing many 9-point matches, I believe it is. But you tend to have to play more matches to continue through that way. Yeah, but he can make it back to the true finals. And once you get to the grand finals, you know, whoever makes it there, they buy back the extra life in prize money and just allow the 2 finalists, the undefeated finalists and the second chance finalists, to play 1 match to decide the tournament. So there's more excitement for everyone. And yeah, so Michi in the riskier road for sure, and Geely 1 win under the belt, but still a long way to go and in likely a pretty large field here. We'll find out more when we start to get bracket information and things like that. Aces is going to all but decide it. 4 off, 7 checkers left on the board. Tough to see there. 4 is okay. I guess if he's going to keep it possible, it's starting with the sets a good way. 6-2 finds not quite a miss, but the next 2 the next deuce would take him off the lead roll. Or off bar, not off the lead roll. Off by a roll, though. So the next deuce is relevant after that miss, which means the first deuce was relevant. And 6-5, okay, no miss. And that's going to be enough for Michi. He's going to let it go, and Geely's going to advance. And that's going to wrap up our first round and first day commentary coverage. Nicely played match by both. A little bit of cube funk in there, I think, from Geely later in it, but I thought he played pretty sharp overall. Very interesting stuff. And what a fun match. Tough luck for Michi there. Couldn't quite get into it. And I'm sure, chances to see more of him. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me for this match. I think we're going to tune out. And there might be still more matches on the Loutraki Backgammon channel tonight. This is the last one that I'm involved with until, I believe, it's same time, 8:30 p.m. Greece time again tomorrow is when I pick up with the undefeated quarterfinal we should be to already by then is the plan. Another 13-point match tomorrow starting at the same time. All those are listed out on the channel too, so you can go get notifications about the upcoming stuff. But thank you again so much for joining me. Play you out with a little bit, and that'll close out our stream for the day. Thanks so much to our sponsors and to Opax Gaming, Mind Games, and Club Hotel Casino Loutraki, Stefanos and Ardo running this tournament. Great stuff all around. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.